What advice would you have for entrepreneurs that come to you guys with their pitch? I'm sure that you have a lot, being here and just going to the events. We angels get quite a few pitches. So what would be, I would love to hear kind of your perspective on what do you look for when they approach you?
You want me to start? Okay, well, I mean, none of this is rocket science. I mean, clearly you want the entrepreneur to be able to define well what the problem that he or she is trying to solve. No, and it really needs to be a problem, because sometimes people perceive problems which just, I don't know if they really are that. So you need to be convinced there's a problem. You need to convince that the entrepreneur and the team. And here I want to say that there are amazing individual entrepreneurs, and I wish them all the luck in the world. But one of the lessons I've learned over time is I like to see a team. I just, I think we all have different capabilities and talents, and a startup is so difficult that you need complementary talents, and you also want to know that the founders are debating within themselves. So for me, team is very important, particularly having a CTO or a technological person is almost key, and if there isn't such a person, I won't invest. And then the third thing, and I think I've become probably less risk-averse, more risk-averse than Tony. In the beginning, I was willing to invest more on ideas and all that. Now I really want to see some kind of traction or product market fit. And it's you can't define exactly what it is, but I'm not willing to go with just an MVP at this point. So I've kind of moved a little to being, not to necessarily Series A, but a little bit further out on the spectrum to see that at least the solution that they have designed for the problem is receiving some kind of, and that maybe users, it may be revenue, but some kind of indication that there's some kind of market acceptance of the solution.
So, I mean, everybody, if you can't take it, I'll take you. Come to me. I'll take founders, startups, seed, anything. But a more serious note. Three things.
The founders here, take note.
Yes, so please, come on. Three things that I look for, and I put them in three buckets, very important for me. The first is the business thesis, which you mentioned. What is the commerce? What are you solving? A lot of times you see business plans and financial models that solve nothing. You're just wondering, what are you selling? Eventually, there must be a commerce. What are you selling? Who's buying it? If you cannot define that market opportunity, I struggle. Most times, founders don't spend enough time. They see a gap. Not every idea is a gap. Not every gap is an opportunity. Not every opportunity is a business. There's a first step to a business. So you show me the business you're solving. That's the first thing we do in business thesis. Then, what's the business model you have deployed to exploit that gap? A lot of times, people don't know that a business model is more than just a business plan. There's a team, there's a strategy, there's a route to market. There are basic things about showing that you have thought about this thing. Even if you're a startup, even if you're an idea, you've thought through this extensively. Then there's a capital structure and investment. That's one. So the business thesis, does it make sense? Can I see it? Can I buy it? Second for me is the investment thesis. How do I make money? What's my plan? If I want to stay 15 years, do I see my way out of this deal? If I'm going to stay forever, will it ever turn profit? Not everybody can wait 30 years for to get dividend back. The investment thesis, you must tell an investor how he's going to make money. It would be nice if you can show me real comps, examples of businesses in your sector. If you have peers or whatever it is, how do you get liquidity or value or alpha to the investor? And these first two are very important, but the last one I'm about to talk about for me is the icing. After all said and done, I'm backing somebody. Hard work trumps competence every day. A passionate, hardworking, and hungry entrepreneur will always find a way to make money. My example is very simple. A lion is a lion whether it's in Brazil or it's in Mexico or in China. He has one job, just to eat and kill. If an entrepreneur, you have to show me that whatever happens in the economic cycle, the business cycle, you will innovate, you will survive. Because at the end of it, business models change, business cycles evolve. But the team, the entrepreneur, must be able to demonstrate that you are worth backing. Because that's what happens when life happens like it does in business. People say, what if it doesn't work? I say, what if it works? Show me that you know what it works.
For us, mean, when we did Kio, it's a very infrastructure play. We have 40 data centers around the world, so imagine how much it takes just to even build one. So we said if we did it like that, which was the hardest way, why not we do it now software-wise? We're fanatics about software. We think that there's not enough coders in the world to solve all the software needs that humanity has. So we're trying to promote as many people writing code as possible. So we need software platforms that scale, that are not dedicated only to one country. Maybe you have a really neat invoicing infrastructure for Mexican companies, which may be a really, really good business, but that's just not what we're looking for. We don't like to be cornered into one country because then we're dependent on what the government decides to do or not to do and things like that. And then hopefully there has some, what I say, magic sauce, like something related to AI. Hopefully it could be other technologies like blockchain or things like that, but we've been very focused on AI and all the derivatives of AI, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, you name it, chatbots, you name it. For us, the first thing that we look is at the people, and like Rahul, we like to see a team. If it's a single guy, we might also go in, but it's harder. We really need the CTO part. We really need that they understand the technology, and they really need to understand the dimensioning of how much they're going to spend on developing whatever they want to develop. And also the technology. You know, there's companies that are technology companies, and there are companies that are tech-based, and I mean tech-enabled. And that's different for us. Like, for example, there's a company in Mexico doing really well, like Casper, called Luna, that they sell mattresses, and they have a very nice website and whatever, and they're executing really, really well. I'm not taking anything away from them. But that's not a company that we would invest on because it just doesn't have our thesis. It doesn't have, that's something that I could go in and to Thailand, I know where they buy the mattresses, and I can start competing against them. It's really tough right now, the intellectual property part, because in the old days, we're really starting to pay attention to that, and everybody should pay attention to that now, because in the old days, I was not that afraid of it, because if you were able to prove that you had the original idea, you could still defend yourself. Today, apparently, is that if I'm the one that copyrights it first, even though I was not the one with the original idea, I can come back and sue you. So now, in the old days, it used to be offensive, and now it has to be also defensive, and you can spend a lot of money with lawyers trying to just protect your IP. But I think that IP is becoming important just so that you don't get attacked. But those basically are the things that we look for.
Okay, thank you. I think this is great points, and I think very useful for our entrepreneurs here. So another question for you guys. I think, especially in Mexico, and I'm curious to hear how it is in Nigeria. When we go invest in seed rounds here as angels, we frequently encounter early funds, especially early stage VCs in Mexico. And what would be the learnings kind of for investors here to look out for in term sheets? Because I think we all know that there are friendly VCs and not so friendly VCs. And so I think it would be great for the entrepreneurs and for the investors to hear your advice on like what to look out for.
A long time ago, the first investment that Intel Capital did in one of our companies, when we were doing, back in the year 2001 or 2002, one day the guy said, if I invest more than X amount of percentage, then you become a toxic asset. And I looked at it and I was like, what? What the hell is that? And it was like 19.64% or something. They had some very specific number, around 19%. And I was like, I don't understand why. Okay, that must be the way of Intel Capital. And I didn't think about it further. Today, I think about that every day because I've seen cap tables where the original first investor has 42%, has 35%. And if you make the math, once you start going into a Series A and to a Series B, that means that, I'm going to exaggerate the point to make the point, that maybe the founder now only has left 5% or 8% or 12%. Just do the math, depending on how, but let's say if you do a math of a Series A and a Series B of a 25% dilution, which could be an average between 20 to 30%. So do 25, and you do the math. I want the entrepreneur to feel the ownership of the company so that every Monday when he gets up, he wants to go to work. He's not like, oh my God, I only have 2%, They need to feel some kind of ownership. And I don't want people that are just chasing unicorns because there's no way in hell that you know you were going to do a unicorn when you were doing something. But you should definitely be very motivated, like they were saying, my colleagues here, that if you don't have that passion that you really want to change whatever you're trying to change, then it's not going to happen. First you have to dream it and then believe that you can do it, and then just try to do it.
I mean, for me, I think one of the things that I would like to talk to entrepreneurs about is don't assume every investor is the same. One phenomenon I've seen across Africa and now Mexico is everybody is doing a safe note. Like, why is it a safe? Why must you do a safe? A safe is not the be-all and end-all. I mean, I like equity risk. I don't like safe notes. Because from my point of view, my money is risk capital. If you go under, my safe is gone anyway. So from my point of view, and I'm a long-term investor, we are a family office, so we take 15, 20-year view on you. And also, when we invest in you, we're backing you to be your partners long-term. So why am I taking a safe note when I can take an equity risk and work with you? It doesn't mean we don't do safe notes or convertibles, but you have to tailor the ask to the stage of your business or to the opportunity. So assuming every investor has the same appetite for safe or convertible is wrong. I think second thing also is you must find an investor that is aligned with you. His point is very clear. If whatever it is, you must be motivated. Whether it's 30%, 40%, for me, it doesn't matter. What is that magic number that keeps you going? But whether it's even 2%, right? If you and your investor are aligned and they see you together, you can work together. What you don't want is a divided house. If you're not committed, so alignment with your investor has to be a natural fit between you and your investor. Don't just go after capital alone. Money alone, when you're at the early stage, does not help you. You need smart money, nurturing money, money that will help you grow, money that can open doors for you for market access, that will help you with service providers, that will help you think about strategy. So focus on money that's nurturing. Ensure that you know your investor very well and what he likes to invest in, so you're able to tailor make it. And thirdly, ensure there's alignment between you and your investor. It's extremely important that in your early stages, you do all the things right. Because if the foundation is right, you have a chance. It's tough enough being an entrepreneur. Don't make your life difficult by being an entrepreneur with a bad investor. Like you said, it's a bad marriage.
Do you have anything to add? Well, I was going to open it a little bit to the audience, who maybe entrepreneurs who've had angel investors or looking for angel investments. If you guys have any questions to our panelists. No questions.
But I want to pick on somebody here. Bianca. So Bianca and us were just about to close a deal for Safe Room. We're investing in Bianca. We think she has a phenomenal product, and we're not only investing in Bianca, we also want to take it to Africa as well. So make it so it's our first partnering. I think it would be nice for Bianca to share maybe a small story of whether we're crazy investors or we're good investors.
Yeah, this is like a true success of MITA TechTalks, because we had the deal closing right in the premises here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, this was definitely unexpected to happen. So I'm gonna set in. It seems like we closed the deal with Toye and Platform Capital, so we're super excited. And so we are a Safe Room. We are based in San Francisco. We have a market here in Mexico. We have early investors here in Mexico as well. We have an engineering team in Germany. So we are a true global startup, I would say. And now we even have the opportunity to go out to Africa. So we're very excited about this, because even though we are focusing on emerging markets, so especially at this point Latin America, so Mexico is going to be like our super focus now at the beginning. We're looking at Brazil, Argentina, to bring Safe Room there. What we do is we do secure messaging for businesses. So kind of think about it as a hybrid between a WhatsApp and a Slack, but focused on businesses that are valuing privacy and security. So an alternative for the WhatsApp, the crazy WhatsApp usage that's happening here in Latin America. And funny or interesting is that in Africa, they're facing the same challenges. So everything is happening on the mobile phone. So for us, it's just like this amazing opportunity now to look into a continent, not only into a new country, but into a new continent, and and enter this market together with a new investor. So that's what I'm very excited about, and I'm all about global partnerships and global opportunities. And this is, I think, what MITA TechTalks probably represents, because investors from Silicon Valley, from Africa, from Mexico, different cities are coming here and mingling with entrepreneurs in this beautiful setting. So very excited, and it's even possible to get a deal done. So, but only talk. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Great. I think we're close to running out of time, but I wanted to ask you guys, in your perspective, what makes a good angel investor? You've been angel investors, so just kind of taking a look and seeing. I'm sure you work with different types of people,
Sure.
etc.
I anticipated you'd ask that question. And the first thing I want to say is something that Tony said earlier today. Don't become an angel investor unless you have a strong stomach, okay? You really have to have a strong stomach. It's not like investing in a stock or mutual fund. I mean, there are companies you're going to invest in. Things are never going to go the way you think they're going to go. Practically 80% of the companies I've invested in have had a near-death experience already. So, I mean, these things happen. They're going to happen more than once, but you have to work through them. So diversifying is very important. There are a lot of people who invest in one or two of startups. They lose all their money, and then they say, it's a horrible investment. So diversify. The thing you also need is patience. This is not a 3-year or 2-year. It can be sometimes, and it's a miracle what it is. I don't know if I can wait 10 or 15 years, but at least you better wait 5 years or more, no? And the thing is that I think the most important thing is, I mean, when things are going well, don't get into the hair of the CEO, but keep track of what's going on. See if you can add value that's help bring in other investors, help create business opportunities. And when exit time comes, if you can do anything to facilitate possible leads for buying the company. The thing I say, though, I have learned most is that when those bad times come, work with the CEOs, work with the company, work with the founders. Be part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem. That's why you're in there. Things are not always going to go the way you want them to. And so I have now I'm currently going through one of my companies now, which is at its near death. There was another one that was at its near death two months ago. There's another one that was near death a year ago. But we worked, the other investors, we got together, we worked out solutions for these companies. So I think that's what I've learned most as an angel investor.
I think, and to re-echo what my colleague just said right now, there are easier ways of making money than being a family office. It's tough. Almost every time you are chasing fires or everything is always going wrong at some time. I mean, it's always fires or battle. So really, if you are a family investor, you need to be clear what risk you are taking. Take only the risk you understand. Don't do the head effect where you see people investing in a safe note, you now put your money and say, what have I bought? What the hell is this? I think a good family investor is one that understands the risk he's taking and is there for the long haul. Whether it is 5 years or 15 years, you know your time horizon. Define your time horizon up front and stick to it. Second is, I say to people, a family investor should be what they call your first call investor. What does that mean? That's the first person you want to call when things are going bad, because your partner. Don't call me last when everything is bad. I can't do anything. When things are going bad, I can jump into the trenches with you. We try and fix it. A family investor is more than just a timed investor. Because it's trying to ensure that you are successful and is also successful. So, imagine what he said. Be a first call investor. Ensure you take risk that you understand, but also ensure that you are building a partnership with that company. It's a relationship. And if you think being a family investor is tough, try being an entrepreneur is tougher. So whatever it is you think you're going through, the guy is going through worse. So that's my advice.
I think that what Rahul said is key, that about tell me how yes, not how no. I say it in different words, but that's what he was saying, is like when you are a partner, you should really be a partner and try to help when there's a problem. Because if you just get on the CEO's hair, like, oh, you didn't do what you promised me and you're an idiot and what have you, that's not going to help for anything. In the contrary, it's just going to alienate your relationship, and you're all together in the same boat. So if you're really in the same boat, you have to be clear in a meeting how you're going to steer that boat, or it goes to a safe harbor rather than just sink and forget about it, because you're going to sink together. So it's how do we make money together and success together, not how do I make money with you or you with me. I don't know if I explain myself, but I think that's very, very important. I was lucky enough once in my life to meet probably one of the original, if not the original VC in the Bay Area, which was the legal counsel for Apple, Arthur Rock. And he had a very interesting black book with all the contacts in the world that you can think of. But he spent the time to go with you and take you to them, and you know he was part of the team. So I feel like that today. I'm not the coach, I'm not the quarterback of the team. I'm maybe like the kicker, you know, in American football, where you only go in certain times, but you try to do your best to do the best kick, and maybe a 30-yard kick is easy one, but 60-yard is not easy, but at least we try. But you have to really try to help the guys to get through that stage and eventually get to the numbers. But at the beginning, you have to develop a product, you have to manage a team, all these things you have to be recognized. And for me, the good description of a good manager is somebody that is surrounded by good people. You should hire people that know more than you on what you're hiring them for. So that's all the things that we look at.
Thank you. This has been great. And maybe as a last question, what's your favorite investment to date and why? Like in two sentences.
Well, I have several favorites, but one of them is a particular favorite because it has kind of interesting story about capital crossing borders and all that. It's a company in Los Angeles which is called Camino Financial. And basically what it is, it's a company that it started as a broker, but it's gone into more lending. It lends to small Latino businesses in the United States, meaning, you know, little grocery stores, little contractors, landscape, little restaurants. You know, this is a huge sector. Latinos are responsible for some huge percentage of the new business growth in the U.S. Now, great people, great, they were also Harvard Business School grads, but we had a hell of a time getting funding, both for the debt and for the equity. And what made this company, the demand was just unbelievable. The funding was from, what we ended up with, we got a Mexican VC to be our chief in the seed round, our chief equity investor. And the Mexican VC brought in Crédito Real, which you know is a publicly listed Mexican company. Crédito Real subscribed the whole B round and is providing us all the financing. And we're growing 300 to 400% a year. But here's an example of absolutely reverse. A U.S. company that was completely funded by Mexican capital because the Mexicans saw the value of the U.S. Hispanic market in a way that traditional Silicon Valley and U.S. investors just, they don't comprehend it. So that's why it's my favorite story.
Do you guys have any?
I don't have a favorite one. I think that there's
It's
some
difficult
companies.
to pick one.
No, I think that there's some companies that know how to use us better than others for chemistry reasons or for whatever reasons. And so I think that there's some key people. I mean, out of the 27 people that we have in the portfolio, maybe 10 or 15 are at the age of my son, to put it in perspective. My son is 28. So I love my work because now I get to work with very young people that keep me on my toes, which I really enjoy. And they bring me about new things and what have you, and then I also bring them about other new things that I'm reading about. But I just think that it's very, very important to have that symbiosis. The old, you know, my lack of hair, I deserve it. You know? So we have some experiences, but then the young people have all this energy that make these things happen. We have very interesting companies right now that are doing really well, but they've done really well because they listen and they really have a symbiotic. Eric, that was earlier here, so obviously one. Javier Mata also that was here earlier. But there's many, many others that are in the pipeline. And just like Rahul, we've seen many of the companies where they have already the water level up to here. if they already have it up to here, it's very hard when they ask you for help, because it's like last minute thing. It's like a Hail Mary. They should ask you for help when the water is here, and then here, and then here. There should be this communication going on all the time. And then, even with the water here, you might be able to, with a Hail Mary, to save them, and it has happened. I've seen many companies like almost going dead, and the next day they completely survive. But you don't want those big hiccups if you can avoid them.
And I think for me, while I can share a few of our success stories, I'm looking forward to the future. So I'm hoping that Safe Room will be our own first Mexican unicorn. So Bianca, you're my favorite deal now.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rahul. Thanks a lot. Our next speaker is going to talk to us today about 5G networks. Paul McLachlan from Ericsson